Good morning, everybody. Mike's MMA Picks here with your Fight Morning Quick Card Breakdown show brought to you by BetDSI, as well as MMA Odds Breaker. I want to thank everybody for tuning in on this Saturday morning where we have UFC Vegas 21, Belal Muhammad against Leon Edwards for all the marbles. 5-round affair. 13 fights on this card, only 5 of which are expected to finish. Let's kick things off with the first fight of the night, where we have Witt-Semelsberger, former Marist safety, taking on Jason Witt out of Glory MMA. Should be a fantastic bout to kick things off. The curtain jerker, so to speak. Witt-Semelsberger, 7-2 overall record, coming off of a win over Carlton minus, not very impressive. Jason Witt is going to look to take this fight to the mat and work in a similar fashion to what he did to Cole Williams. I'm not sure if that's going to work out so well later this evening, though, because Cole Williams does not have the best chin in the world. Semelsberger, I expect things to get a little sketchy early, possibly taken down, but once he works his way back to the feet, land the finishing blows on Jason Witt. So give me Witt-Semelsberger to walk away with the victory there. There is potential for Jason Witt to put up a potentially high DraftKings score if he's able to keep Semelsberger on the mat. You've got a $8,400 price tag for Semelsberger, $7,800 on the other side of the fight for Jason Witt. So you know James Krause is going to be helping Jason Witt here get things in order, but I'll be picking Semelsberger. Next fight of the night, where we head to the 115-pound division. We've got ladies here. We've got Gloria DePaula taking on Jinh Frey. Jinh Frey, we've seen her inside of the octagon a couple of times so far. She physically looks the part, though is undersized. 7,400 plus 155 underdog. Gloria DePaula, 5-2 overall record. She doesn't have many fights under her belt, but what she did bring to her Contender Series bout last time out was very impressive. 8,800 minus 195 betting favorite at this juncture. Still only 25 years of age. I got to be honest, when I watch the tape here, I see the volume being a difference maker. I think that work rate could come into play as well as cardio. Jinh Frey, you know, in her Invicta fights that she has fought a significant quality opponent, but here against DePaula, I see DePaula bringing the fight to Frey and work rate being the ultimate factor. Unfortunately, in women's MMA, sometimes it comes to this, and that's so Gloria DePaula is going to be my pick. Next up, women's 125-pounders, where we have Ige-Tucker taking on Courtney Casey. Courtney Casey, 9-8 overall record, 33 years of age now, has struggled mightily in previous bouts, especially when things hit the mat. 7,700 plus 120 underdog. Other side of the fight, you look at Ige-Aldrich's amateur record. She's fought the who's who on the regional scene out in Colorado, has decent cardio, still only 28 years of age, working her way through the ropes here. I'll be honest, I'm surprised she still has a roster spot. 8,500 minus 150. This fight's expected to go to a decision at minus 400. Aldrich, grittier fighter here, fighter who you look at Courtney Casey. Typically, she has good cardio. She has the UTEP soccer background. in her back pocket there. Ige-Aldrich, I think she's going to be a little bit tougher out there. She's going to push a heavier pace, and I'll be picking Ige-Aldrich to get the job done. Courtney Casey will look to land strikes at range. I just don't see her being very effective. Next up, we head to the men's lightweight division, where we have Nasrat Haqparast taking on Haqparast-Garcia. I wanted to mention that this card is littered with combate veterans. Look up and down this card. You'll see that. Haqparast-Garcia, unblemished 12-0 record, coming in at 6,800, plus 345 underdog, only 26 years of age. That win over Umberto Bandanay left a lot to be desired out there, my friends. Nasrat Haqparast, one of my favorite fighters to watch in the octagon. Loves to pump that piston of a left hand. We cashed on him versus Mark Diakese a number of years ago. He had that rough loss to Drew Dober, but has since righted the ship. 9,400 minus 465 betting favorite for Nasrat Haqparast. Going to be having a significant reach advantage. Look for Haqparast to land that left hand. And also, if this fight hits the mat, he is the more well-rounded mixed martial artist. So I'll be picking Nasrat Haqparast to win. Next up, we head to the men's 135-pound division, where we have bantamweights. Rani Yahya taking on Ray-Rodriguez. Ray-Rodriguez, 16-7 record. Got choked out by Brian Kelleher last time out. $7,000 plus 240 underdog for Rodriguez. He's going to have to weather a jiu-jitsu storm early. That's his chance here. 9,600 or 9,200 minus 310 favorite for Rani Yahya. Yahya, 26-10 record, has been around the block in mixed martial arts, has fought out of American top team. We know exactly what he brings to the table. That Luke Sanders fight still haunts me to this day. So there's levels to this game. There's levels to this game, and Ray Rodriguez, he could potentially land the knockout blow here, though more likely outcome is Yahya by submission. I'll be picking Rani Yahya to win in this spot, but I do not feel comfortable laying over minus 300 for a 36-year-old veteran who has been prone to fatigue. That fight's not expected to go to a decision at minus 190. Next up, we head to the featherweights, where we have a hell of a matchup here between two bangers. We should see a firefight between Charles Jourdain and Marcelo Rojo. Marcelo Rojo, 10-6 record. Sorry, 16-6 overall record, 7,100 in DraftKings plus 205 underdog. You watch Rojo fight, and he will throw caution to the wind. There's more to the table than that T-Rex celebration after the wins. Charles Jourdain, though, the bigger fighter. You saw it at the weigh-ins. Impressive win versus Doo Ho Choi. The Culibao fight, I'm surprised that hasn't shaped the odds in this matchup. I was expecting this to be a little bit more closely lined bout. Both of these fighters are not ground fighters, so to speak. They are going to look to trade. 9,100 minus 255 betting favorite for Charles Air Jourdain. As far as DraftKings goes, one thing, if this was the old scoring system, top control, wouldn't be a factor. Nowadays, when you have many choices as far as roster construction goes, you really need to think about this. So Jourdain, he could potentially land, both of these fighters could land a plethora of strikes until somebody gets finished. But be aware that we aren't necessarily going to see the grappling points. I'll be picking Charles Jourdain to win this matchup in dramatic fashion. I recommend those out there to take a look at the round 2 and round 3 finish prop. I suspect Rojo will last a while. Both of these fighters could put each other's lights out. They are not defensively sound. So give me Charles Jourdain to win this matchup. Next up, we have Angela Hill taking on Ashley Yoder. I am worried about this matchup because we have a significant favorite here, as well as 9,400 in DraftKings. Angela Hill, a 12-9 record. You're laying some serious chalk. And Ashley Yoder, 8-6 overall record, 6,800 in DraftKings, plus 280 at the betting window. This fight is expected to go to a decision at minus 355. Angela Hill, more proficient in the stand-up, more fluid on the feet. The Spider Monkey is going to look to try to take this fight to the mat. That's where she could potentially have some success. But I'll be riding with Angela Hill in this matchup. I believe that she has the tools to run away with this, but it could potentially be a close bout. I do not recommend laying over minus 300 in this spot, though. Next up, we head to the men's middleweight division, where we have Eric Anders taking on Darren Stewart. Eric Anders made the move to fight ready, coming in at 7,300 in DraftKings, plus 150. Underdog now, 13-5 record. I was at Eric Anders' UFC debut on Uniondale, Long Island, where he scored a dramatic finish victory. The trajectory of his career has been altered significantly. He has not evolved, and it's tough to ask a 33-year-old fighter who seems to be a plodding, methodical fighter who's set in his ways. I have concerns about him in this matchup taking on a Darren Stewart who gets stronger as the fight goes, is the heavier striker, is someone with a decent gas tank. You look what he did against Kevin Holland and others. 8,900 minus 180 betting favorite for Darren Stewart. Darren Stewart, you watch his recent fights. He had the submission against Maki Pitolo. I do not expect anybody to get subbed in this fight. I do expect the over 2.5 to hit. This fight is expected to go to a decision at minus 195. I'll be picking Darren Stewart. Very interesting spot, though. Eric Anders, I want to see what he looks like after that move to fight ready, but I don't expect any changes. Next up, men's flyweights, where we have Matthias Nicolau taking on Manel-Kape. Manel-Kape, 15-5 overall record, was very gun shy last time out in his UFC debut when he took on Pantoja. 8,700 minus 120 betting favorite for Kape here, who has a little bit of a reach advantage. He's going to be the heavier striker, but Nicolau has been absent from the octagon for some time. 15-2-1 record, is the more explosive, dynamic fighter. 7,500 minus 110. So you're getting some significant odds value here with Nicolau. He's had a number of canceled bouts. He also was a victim of USADA. Nicolau, I have concerns about his chin, though. And we know Kape packs some serious power. This may surprise some folks, but after watching the tape, I'll be leaning Nicolau-Kape here. He hits harder. He has more proficient striking, and he's not as defensively a liability on the feet. You watch Nicolau, even beyond the Dustin Ortiz loss, there have been others where he puts himself in harm's way. And watch how he enters the pocket. It's disturbing at times. He's asking to be countered. And if Kape gets taken down, that's where Nicolau could potentially win this fight. He's got a much better jiu-jitsu game, slick grappler, but I'll be picking Kape to win. Next up, we head to the bantamweight division where we have Davey Grant, who's been around the UFC for a long time. Davey Grant, 10-4 record, was originally on the, I believe the Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate Ultimate Fighter show back in 2013. 6,900 for Davey Grant, plus 245 underdog. He is one tough folk from Great Britain. Jonathan Martinez coming out of Colorado here. Loves to land that leg kick like his teammate Gutierrez. The reaches cancel each other out in this matchup. 9,300 minus 320 betting favorite. Still only 26 years of age for Martinez, coming off of that very impressive win over Thomas Almeida. Also his win over Frankie Sides. You got to look out for that knee up the middle. That is a potential difference maker here. Also, Davey Grant's ground game. That is something to look out for. If Martinez gets put on his back, don't be surprised to see him get stuck there for a significant amount of time in the smaller octagon. Question is, though, can Grant close the distance here? I question that. Martinez is becoming, he's starting to grow into his frame. He did look like the smaller fighter at weigh-ins, though. I'll be picking Martinez in this spot. He showed me a lot in that Thomas Almeida fight. He's able to pump that jab. He's able to move. He's able to land his kicks. And him and Montoya have a good thing going, fighter coach. By the way, how sad is it, the Aljo Sarah situation? Hate to see things like that play out in real time. So hopefully those two guys get it figured out. I'll be picking Jonathan Martinez to win this matchup. By the way, thank you everybody for tuning in today. I appreciate this. Doing a little bit of a different setup this morning, and it seems to be working out fairly well. Next up, we have the people's main event of the evening, where we have Dan Ige taking on Gavin Tucker. Gavin Tucker, 13-1 record, has really rebounded from the Rick Glenn loss. We cashed on Tucker against Justin James, 7,600 plus 125 underdog, 34 years of age, taking on one of the toughest individuals, one of the most durable individuals in the sport, with a 14-3 record. Dan Ige, Extreme Couture fighter, 8,600 minus 155 betting favorite. I think this line is a little wide for Dan Ige. He is not, when it comes to technical skills on the feet, Gavin Tucker wins that battle. When it comes to evasiveness and being fleet of foot, Gavin Tucker wins that battle. When it comes to durability, Dan Ige gets an edge there. I think the ground game is actually a wash. Both of these guys are black belts, and the gas tank, I will edge Dan Ige. I think it's going to come down to Dan Ige having to break Gavin Tucker. And can we really bank on that? I was the Billy Q fight that set a lot of people straight, including myself. Although we don't want the pendulum to swing too far, this is a very closely lined fight. for a reason. I think this fight is going to go to a decision. So do the odds makers at -240. I'll be picking Dan Ige to eke out a decision win. I would not expect this to become a split on the cards. The question, though, is can Dan Ige catch Tucker? And is Tucker's durability going to come into play? Because if it isn't, then Tucker could potentially win this bout. So very closely lined fight, slight lean to Dan Ige. Although I'm not counting Tucker out. Initially, when this fight was announced, I was like, oh, you know, Dan Ige is the play. But the more you watch the tape, Tucker seems to be coming into his own. I'll be picking Dan Ige. Next up, light heavyweight division, where we have the co-main event of the evening. We've got Misha Cirkunov with a 15-5 record. This is somebody who has not been very active. Last time we saw him was 2019. Taking on Ryan Spann, Fortis MMA fighter, 18-6 record, 7,900 plus 105 underdog. On the other side of the fight, you've got Cirkunov at 8,300 minus 135 betting favorite. I don't like when I see Cirkunov engage in the pocket. He is so stiff out there, and he, granted, is in most fights, he is the technically superior fighter, especially when it comes to the ground game. You do not want to play around on the ground with Misha Cirkunov. Misha Cirkunov has a number of submissions on his resume, and he remember that fight against Nicholson when he ended up busting up his jaw. Ryan Spann, though, is going to look to try to stay at range here and pick Cirkunov apart. If these two lock horns and this fight hits the mat, Cirkunov, in my eyes, is going to be locking something up. If not, though, Spann has the striking to cause Cirkunov real problems. Granted, we saw Spann against Nogueira washed up. Nogueira be able to put it on him and also look impressive on the ground. But Cirkunov, in my eyes, here has the better ground game and is the much stronger fighter. Look at their physiques and the body structure. Cirkunov could climb all over Spann on the ground here and use him as a grappling dummy at times. But this fight is a very closely lined fight for a reason. This fight's not expected to go to a decision at -495. The under 1.5 looks like it's in play here. I'll be picking Misha Cirkunov to win by submission, though I would not be surprised if this fight gets extended to see Ryan Spann pour it on and walk away with the victory. Give me Misha Cirkunov. Next up, main event of the evening, where we have Leon Edwards taking on Belal, remember the name, Muhammad. Broke down this fight a little bit in an article for MMA Oddsbreaker. 18-3 records across the board for these fighters. You look at the weigh-ins. Leon Edwards seems to have a size advantage. You watch the tape. Leon Edwards, the superior striker, the more agile, the better athlete. $9,000 in DraftKings, -260 betting favorite. When it comes down to will, you know Belal Muhammad has an iron will. When you bet on fighters, you want people to fight for your money, and you know Belal Muhammad will do that. 7,200 plus 210 underdog, still only 32 years of age. You watch his fight against Diego Lima, which was very recent. He had his lead leg chewed up in that matchup. Tough as nails. Walked right through it. Limped out of the octagon. Had some time to recover. Leon Edwards, coming off of that win over Rafael Dos Anjos. Very impressive victory over Rafael Dos Anjos. And unfortunately, that was marred by controversy after the fight when Leon Edwards made a poor decision to confront Jorge Masvidal, and we saw that go viral. And it's interesting how Jorge Masvidal was catapulted to stardom after landing that three-piece with the soda. But that does not play a factor in this specific matchup. Leon Edwards, you watch his fights, that left elbow, that lead-in elbow off the clinch is going to be in play here. Belal Muhammad, you watch the fights against Jeff Neal and others. He is there to be hit. His head does not move off the center line. Leon Edwards, tactical. It's going to come down to, I think the cardio is going to come into play here. We've seen Leon Edwards go 5 rounds before. He was preparing for a matchup against Chimaev. And Belal Muhammad is a tough out. Tough to fade Belal Muhammad. I'll be picking Leon Edwards in this spot, though. I think when you have the cost-benefit analysis in front of you, with all of the hardware, you see Leon Edwards as the superior fighter up and down. There are a couple of areas, though, where he's faded down the stretch that could be potentially an issue. But Leon Edwards is the superior fighter. He's one of the best welterweights on planet Earth, and he has a lot to prove here. The question is, does he have octagon jitters and ring rust? You know that Belal Muhammad is going to push the pace in this matchup, and that could be a potential issue here. There could be a potential issue for Leon Edwards gassing out late. I'll be picking Leon Edwards, though, in this spot. I think he just checks off too many of the boxes. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to wish everybody a spectacular fight morning. Go get what's yours, my friends. You can follow me on Twitter at MikesMMAPicks. MMA Oddsbreaker Premium. Have a few plays up there. And also third-party tracked at betmma.tips. I'll see you in the trenches on DraftKings. Have a wonderful day. Let's go get what's yours, my friends.